Hey, what's happening, everybody? So a couple weeks back, Liver King came out and was exposed for his rampant steroid use, despite him standing by his natural status for years, even though there's been plenty of visual evidence to the contrary, and any of us in the know knew he was completely and utterly full of shit. But my thing about the Liver King is, even though, yes, he lied about his steroid status, and he's quite the polarizing character in social media, I actually really like a lot of the things that he says. I like his 9 ancestral tenets. I like the fact that he stands by his philosophy. His philosophy is pretty interesting. Push yourself hard, confront your fears, have a close-knit group of people around you that you really enjoy. I really think he's got a lot of good things to say. I've also taken his supplements for years. In fact, I have taken his beef organ supplement now since basically right before COVID. And as of right now, I supplement with thyroid, with liver, and with bone marrow. They're not cheap, but they're pretty fantastic supplements, at least in theory. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and one of the things that I wanted to prove, was whether or not his supplements are actually good, whether or not they have the nutrient profile that he says that they do, whether or not they're even worth the money. And if so, or if not, are there alternative sources? Are there alternative ways to get the same amount of nutrition from what he talks about? That's what I want to explore in this video, so let's do it. So first, let's talk about the idea behind the supplements and why you'd even want to take them in the first place. The idea behind beef organs, primarily liver, but also kidney, heart, spleen, pancreas, thyroid, brain, any number of other things that the Liver King's company sells, is that they're extremely micronutrient dense, maybe more so than any other food on the planet. And in theory, I think he's right. For example, liver is one of the only sources, if not the only source, of bioavailable vitamin A converted into retinol from its precursor beta-carotene form. And in addition, there are others as well. Beef liver, for example, being relatively dense in choline, which pretty much everybody I know is going to be deficient in for one reason or another. So just exploring the nutrient density profile of beef organs, I found this website, and I think it's pretty decent. I think it's at least a decent start to understanding the micronutrient density of beef organs. But as it breaks it down, let's go ahead and take a look at a brief micronutrient density profile of liver. So forget about the calories, forget about the macronutrients. What I'm more interested in is the micronutrient density. So for example, 100 grams of beef liver, you have 550% of your daily value of vitamin A, 163% of your daily allowance of vitamin B2 or riboflavin, 2,471%, maybe a slight bit of overkill, of your daily allotment of vitamin B12, 61% of your daily value of choline, which again, you're probably deficient in. It's a micronutrient you should definitely be thinking about finding in one way, shape, or form. In addition, super nutrient dense in iron, super nutrient dense in copper, and so on. As we look at other beef organs, they are similar in density, maybe slightly different in a couple of different things, but again, super high in vitamin B2, super high in vitamin B12, super high in bioavailable heme iron, super high in selenium. Again, these are things you're not going to find unless you're deliberate about them. So all in all, pretty decent understanding that these organs do carry a bit of micronutrient density, specifically certain things that are either only found in animal form or primarily found in an animal form. So understanding that, one of the things I have a problem with in this list in particular, as it pertains to what I'm talking about, is each one of these organs' size is measured in 100 grams. 100 grams is a lot of organ meat. That is about it's a little bit less than 4 ounces, actually like 3.752 ounces in a serving to get this level of micronutrient. I'm not eating 4 ounces of each of these every day. I mean, that 20 ounces of organs a day just seems a little bit insane. So I'm not doing that. But, you know, there's where the idea of supplements come in. So rather than eating these things in whole food form, the best way in my mind to take them is through a freeze-dried supplement. These supplements are freeze-dried, which maintains their nutrient density. They don't lose any of the micronutrients that are susceptible to heat or can be damaged in a cooking process. Rather, they're freeze-dried, desiccated, and put into a powder form. So it's shelf-stable, it's easily transportable, and it's very easy to take on a daily basis. But here's the problem that I'm starting to have is, in order to get that level of micronutrient density, in order to cover all of those bases, you'd have to eat about 1.5 pounds of organs every day, and putting those into supplement form would be pretty insane. So you're not going to be getting 20-something ounces of organs in a supplement. It's just not going to happen. It'd be, you know, be bigger than most protein shakes would be, and it would taste way fucking worse. So in supplement form, one of the things you will see is a difference in serving size. So if we look at Liver King's website, we pull up the, let's pull up the beef liver. Now, it's actually not a bad price, $34, but if we look at the beef liver serving size, if I can find it, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but if we could find the serving size right here. So amount per serving, 3,000 milligrams. It takes roughly an ounce of product to get 3,000 milligrams of a freeze-dried powder. So you're already getting less than what the original website said in terms of amount. You're getting about 1/4, a little bit more than 1/4. But let's talk about his beef organ supplement, which is a mixture of liver, heart, spleen, pancreas, and kidney that I feel like most people would start with. It seems relatively natural to start there, given the fact that it's an assortment of organs and you don't necessarily know what kind of a profile you're going to be getting. So if we look at his beef organ supplement, again, so we'd see serving size is much smaller than the typical single organ supplement, right? So in this one, we have 600 milligrams of each of the 5, as opposed to 3,000 milligrams of one. So coming from a 3.8-ish ounce serving, now you're looking at a 0.2 ounce serving. So roughly 5%, a little bit more. It's about 5.7% of what that original amount was. So what does that mean in terms of what this particular supplement, the grass-fed beef organs, contain? So what I have here is a showcase of all of the nutrient profile density of what the beef organ supplement contains relative to the supplements as a whole, with it being a single serving of either liver or kidney or whatever, right? So as you can see, these amounts are greatly reduced, obviously because the portion size itself is reduced. But as everything's organized here, this is the total of each of the 5 organs compiled together to provide whichever micronutrient is shown within the supplement. And as you can see, there's some pretty disturbing numbers. So rather than having a high amount of vitamin A here, in this supplement you have about 1/3, right? As far as typical B vitamins, B6, riboflavin, thiamine, relatively low percentages with the exception of riboflavin being about 32%. B3, about 15%. Almost no folic acid. The amount of choline, which really bothers me, is about 3% of your daily recommended value, which again, these are based off the RDAs. A lot of these are pretty low. I still think that 600 plus milligrams of choline, for example, every day is a approachable number. Vitamin B12 is high, which is nice. As far as minerals, copper and iron are very much up there, as well as selenium. This is a great source of these, but as far as everything else, it's really not that great. Now, one of the things I have a problem with is the lack of proper micronutrient density relative to the price of this supplement. This supplement runs about $48 a month, and something to be taken every day. And I like the idea of it, but again, the lack of proper vitamin A, for example, the lack of proper choline, the lack of any of the other nutrients or any of the other minerals that I think would be important in this situation relative to the cost. I certainly think that vitamin B12, I certainly think that heme iron and copper and selenium are important, but at this price point, there are plenty of other alternative ways to get these micronutrients into your diet. So first off, if money's not an issue, by all means, keep buying it. In all honesty, I'm gonna keep buying it. But if you're looking for ways to maximize your efficiency and cut costs as much as possible, this is what I would recommend to do. First, I would still recommend taking beef liver every day, all right? The vitamin A, in one serving of this, you're gonna get more than 100% of your daily allotment of vitamin A. You're gonna get plenty of choline, which is nice, plenty of vitamin B12, heme iron, copper, selenium. There'll be plenty of that in this, and this is much cheaper at about $30 a month. As far as your complete B vitamin, believe it or not, I think that nutritional yeast tablets are actually the best source of a complete B, I should say relatively complete B vitamin source. This will have plenty of vitamin B1, this will have plenty of thiamine, plenty of riboflavin, plenty of niacin, some folic acid. The one thing this will not have is any vitamin B12. And the folic acid, the folate might be a little bit of a moot point because about half of the country has a mutation in their gene where they can't process folate or vitamin B12 directly. They need it to be attached to a methyl group. Now, one of the advantages of getting vitamin B12 and folate from beef organs is that they're already methylated. So whether or not you have either one or both of those genetic mutations, it doesn't matter. You will be able to process the vitamin B12 and folate in beef organs correctly, which is, again, why I'm still going to take it. If cost is an issue, or if you're vegan, because obviously if you're vegan, you're not going to want to take beef organs, I think you should be taking nutritional yeast supplements every day. In addition, I would find a methylated vitamin B12 in the form of methylcobalamin, as well as a 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate supplement. Both of these synthetic vitamins have a methyl group already attached to them. So if you have that mutation or not, you'll still be able to process them. They're both relatively inexpensive. Now, as far as a choline supplement for vegans, I still think choline is a supremely important supplement for a lot of reasons. Choline is the precursor to acetylcholine, which is what your body uses to rebuild myelin sheath, which is the surrounding of your neurons and the surrounding of your brain. In addition, it'll regenerate new neurons as well. It has the potential to regenerate brain cells, and higher levels of choline in your diet are directly correlated with a lower chance of Alzheimer's, whether or not you're even affected by the ApoE4 gene. So choline is a very important supplement. Now, aside from food sources, there is a synthetic version of choline made called alpha glycerylphosphorylcholine, or alpha GPC, that I take every day. And in addition to that, I take a nootropic stat called Gorilla Mind, which, among other things, has a compound in it called huperzine A. And huperzine is an acetylcholine esterase inhibitor. So as your body processes the choline and converts it to acetylcholine, eventually, through the processing, a lot of that gets lost. Huperzine A will make the processing of choline that much more efficient by removing some of the esterase. So by not having some of it disappear through the process, your body will actually retain it more and be able to use it more. So yeah, in conclusion, I strongly advise against demonizing the Liver King. I think that he shouldn't have lied, and he shouldn't have made such a big deal about his natural status when he was so blatantly obvious, just geared out of his skull. But at the same time, he presents a good message, and his supplements, although expensive, I think in certain aspects are very worthwhile. So if you can afford it, I certainly recommend incorporating some beef organs into your diet. If it's too much money, there are alternatives. And of course, if you are plant-based, there are other alternatives as well. I think that these nutrient profiles are very worthwhile, and I think that you should consider adding some of this to your routine so that you can close some of these micronutrient deficiencies and be the best version of yourself you can be. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. If I forgot anything, tell me, please. Make me look stupid in the comments. I'd love to hear from you regardless. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you soon.